tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please.
What's up, bitches? Kat here, and today we are playing the Beginner's Guide. I woke up this morning and I was flipping through YouTube and I saw Jacksepticeye playing this, and within the first few minutes I was intrigued and I decided to turn the video off and go play it for myself because it looks really interesting. It's made by the guy who did the Stanley Parable, and it's supposed to be a weird collection of games his friend did. And apparently it's supposed to make you question life and everything about it, and it's really deep, so I figured, why spoil it? Let's just play it. So, I've already seen like the first game. Yep, my audio's on. And my hair is tangled. Yep, WASD. And then...
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today, I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008...
There's supposed to be... Yeah. There's supposed to be captions.
and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Okay, this isn't doing captions. Alright, well for some reason it's not doing captions. Sorry about that.
Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Okay.
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
Okay.
As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
This guy is very long-winded. He's already sounding a bit creepy. I'm gonna see if I can get these... It says closed captioning, full captions. Turn them on. I don't know why the captions aren't working. Okay.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction.
There's no gun sounds.
This game is called Escape from Whisper.
Oh, now the captions
and it's
are
one
working.
of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Good. Okay, so now that the captions are working, I can talk a little more. Because I don't want to disrupt the story too much. This might be something important.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
There's no gun sounds, bothers me.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere.
Doors just
You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
Oh, now I can go through the door.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
It's just an unfinished game. It's a bit creepy. Alrighty.
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, maybe I want to try to get through it. Lame.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Okay.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
No. Do I have to?
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay. Hard to put me facing the wall. Okay, let's go into the beam. Okay.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
The past was behind her. Okay.
So it's a short and
Be the
relatively
future,
minimalist
but
experiment
the future
combining
cannot be
motion
seen.
and narrative. It is
Keep
less
changing,
advanced
otherwise
than the
the
previous
future
game, but
keep
actually it
changing.
seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Becomes clearer when she stops and looks. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Okay. This is weird. It's just weird. You're now entering. Entering what?
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Okay. What? Nonsense.
Oftentimes,
in nearly every
Coda would
direction.
put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I want to know what's behind these blocks. Probably nothing.
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
You dick. Fine. I'll go up your stupid stairs. Am I going slower? Yeah.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I'm sure if I just held down on this long enough, it'll work. I'll get there eventually. As a pair of floating eyes emits footstep noises, a key in one game unlocks a door in a completely separate game. You're the queen dusting your jewelry while your kingdom is destroyed. A button you press to stop chaos.
A room
That
that's
doesn't
warm
work.
and nice and filled with
The
little
camera's holding
ideas
it
for
up as you walk
games.
in, set from wherever you like. Press U to surrender. Sharks are trying to eat you.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
I like that. Key unlocks a door in a separate game. Giving you incorrect instructions on how to play. I like that one too. Ready, set, fish. All right. Ready, set, fish. We're fishing? How does this guy know so much about his friend? Like in a weird way.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
What's the puzzle? Oh, not like my. Oh.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Okay. I clicked on it and walked in and... Okay, it's not much of a puzzle, but I didn't really think of that.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Oh, wow.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player.
That's all
So
actually
if your role
there.
here is not to understand,
So I was moving
then
around
what is it?
to see if it was a background. Well, I wanted to look more. That was cool though, because, I mean, how long did it take to build all that just to not play it? Alright, you are entering, you are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Okay. Let's do it. Great and lovely descent. This is weird. There's hills.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do.
Yep.
So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Yep.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Okay. So, what are we doing here? Oh, almost missed it. What are we doing here? Can I just drop down? Oh! Oh no! Oh! Oh crap! Oh, there's something down there! Oh, I made it. Oh, it kind of funneled me down here. That's a lot of shit to go down. At least there's no fall damage. This is weird. Are these beds or stables? Is that creaking? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I have to go in here?
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Okay.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I'm just getting this weird vibe off the narrator. He just seems weird. He seems a bit obsessed. That's cool. Okay.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Maybe it was just easy. Maybe, I don't know. This guy seems to be obsessing over his friend. You there, did you come from above?
Here, Coda begins using
What
a
was
kind
it
of
up there?
dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities.
Yes, there was a
Use the
there,
1, 2,
I
3
guess.
buttons on your keyboard to
This prison
respond.
I spent hours in. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. I spent in a prison. Spent hours. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That's the last thing I came. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. I don't remember. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't want to... Well, I did solve it. Someone else let me in. You didn't solve it. You have learned nothing. You cannot help us escape this prison. You are not the one I need. Surely there will be someone else. Talk to the narrator. No fireplace? You betchas? Okay. Okay. More dudes. I can't get through this door. Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes. No, I've been here this entire time. Yes. No, we actually find the black space between the doors far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would I care about the space between the doors? There's a reason, but it may take time before you understand, which is fine. You'll see it again soon. So yeah, I think I don't know if I said it or not, this game's weird. It seems... This obviously isn't...
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
This obviously isn't a collection of games. This is obviously a game. About a collection of games. I'm not... It just seems weird.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Okay, let's go. A lot of talking, a lot of long-windedness. April 2009, this game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. Nice room, not? How do I leave a note?
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Okay, I was totally right. This guy is a fucking creep. I don't even know what to say. This guy's a creep. He met this guy at a game jam and then basically harassed him until he was his friend. Maybe I'm going too strong about this, but I'm just getting a really weird, creepy vibe from the narrator. I just jumped down.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here, to step back and connect the pieces together, to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
We're at the end of this lamppost. I love how typewriters look like happy little faces. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Please talk to me. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak. Sorry, I didn't notice it scrolling down there. I read it really fast, but okay, that's a bit lonely and sad. Porn stars die too.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Have to do with porn stars. Oh, that's a pretty wall. I want a wall like that. I really want a wall like that. It's so pretty. Oh, we made it outside. Wait, what?
See, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Okay, cool. What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Giant hole in the ground. Okay. What about along the wall? Let's put a picture of a horse. Nope. I like the music. I think what should light up the room? 10 by 12 recessed electric 6-inch soft LED ceiling lights with fluorescent trim. Sounds good to me. Ugh, so I keep fucking with myself. I'm itchy for some reason. On a table, you need a table. Tables were invented in 1935. No, it wasn't. But I feel itchy. I don't know why. So sorry, I'm scratching at myself.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
No, this is flipping cool. It's like when I play The Sims.
So okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Sims, I was good. Sorry, I'm not talking much, but this guy won't shut the fuck up. But yeah, it's like when I play Sims and I make a room, I'll put all the furniture out in the yard, and then I'll make the room, and then I'll put the furniture in the room. Several times when I've moved to places, I'll if you view a flat or you view a house, I'll kind of take a mental note, build it in The Sims, get all my furniture that I have, put it in the yard, build the house, and then see if my furniture fits in the house, how I would organize my furniture. It's a bit weird. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Please take care that you remember. First, click on this table. But yeah, I know it's silly. Good, go over to the photo frame and click it to turn it slightly. But yeah, I've done that before, and I'll turn the lamp on and off. The lamp completely changes skin. Go to left side sofa, move it a little. Finally touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open, return to the start, and be taken back to your prison. See, that's the idea of a game that switches things in another game. Return.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
I thought that was cool. Great, my alarm's going off. Okay. I thought that was cool. The different types of, like the rooms in the well. The inside is the outside. Okay. Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. Hey, it's me. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too? Escape tutorial.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Really? How long has it been since you got out? Only a few minutes, but somehow it's already fuzzy, kind of like it never happened. But this is the worst, most desperate thing I've ever been through. How could you possibly forget? I promise it's not as bad as you think. You don't ever forget it, you just stop identifying with it. Anything can seem infinite when you're drenched in it. Waited for me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? Yes? What did they tell you? What did you have to do to get out? All they told me was to be sincere. They asked me how I felt about being imprisoned. They just talked to me for a while. Talk to me? What? This doesn't make sense. That freed you? How does that work? Just talk to me? Okay, I can talk. Let's talk for a bit. Will you be here? I will be here for as long as you need.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Okay, 2 seconds. I'm gonna go turn my alarm off. Okay, sorry about that. The alarm was going off in the other room. So, what are we doing here? That was weird.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the 2 doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
It is kind of creepy to have a conversation with yourself in a game. I'm glad as heck that you showed up. Thought I might be having to clean this entire house by myself, and right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes. place is nice.
You'll
I'll be
notice
glad
that
to
the
stay here all
quality of
night.
the art is a
Lousy
step
homes
up
make
from previous
home
games,
loners.
including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Clear the table. Much nicer. That's the table I want to see. Now, would you please run to the bedroom and make the bed? While you're in there, why don't you straighten the rug a bit? All the details matter. Should you get these books too? Do you enjoy being a house cleaner? How did you end up doing this job? It's been a long time since I've seen a house as messy. A friend dragged me along at a time when I was particularly desperate for cash. Turns out I've never felt so good doing something for the money in my whole life. Never did like cleaning my own home. I might have caught some demons. Oh, speaking of demons, someone's put this couch all in a mess. Would you come out and straighten these pillows here? Oh dear, it looks like someone spilled a drink over by the couch. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight with you. Okay with that? Okay. I don't know what to make of this game. No! It was stupid. Never mind. These dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Once I check the tub, needed cleaning. You're just gonna stand there and make me do all the work. We're all human. So would you put them back on the shelf? The books are scattered. The books! Now what? Perfect! Now then, how about you come and clear these dishes off
After
the
the
table?
intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
It occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, it takes care of you. I don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. I get it, it's a weird thing to say to someone you just met. Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thanks. How long does this go on? What next? This is all good. Oh goodness, these pillows on the couch are a real mess.
I'm glad he found some peace.
Tell me to get the cup. Oh, the cup's fine. Question. No.
But, of course, it can't last. The music
Are you
stops,
enjoying this?
your
Where'd he
companion
go?
is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Was this always open? Was it always open? Wasn't there walls? That's weird. Fucking lamppost.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it.
Ugh, my eyeballs are being itchy. Items
This
you love
one
at
gets a
members
bit
only
goofy.
prices. Whoa, why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No! You came here to become perfect! This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. Oh, we moved. I blinked and we moved. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am right now. Do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you think about in that way in your own life? Who do you know who is well developed as a person that make you feel disgusted with yourself compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, I tend to make you into that person. I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp, and the question is not how we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly. This is easy. This is so easy.
About
This
halfway
is
through
so
the game,
easy.
the perspective
Becoming perfect
shifts.
is effortless. Mordor? Being perfect is
And you
effortless.
play
This
as
is
the
key.
teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are.
Bigoted?
Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
On the way to work, I told an elderly person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dreams. What? This is the key. How do I achieve with no effort? Oh, so on the inside, feels like shit, but on the outside, he's saying good things. You're screaming. So let's just say all horrible things. So right now, if this isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. I still love you, it's just that you make me feel cold on the inside. Being alone must be awful. Thank goodness all of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. Drinking is not hurting my life. If you torture yourself trying to find the righteous... Drinking is not hurting my life! Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Ew, I'm developing a cyst gross. Seek out the only one thing. What is the easiest, simplest path forward? Keep lying to yourself. Haha, just kidding. Anyone want to do some ecstasy after this? I do! What if I'm not a good teacher? Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out! Nothing? No one? It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone run, run!
I fell pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that
Walk
make
around.
them painfully human.
I wonder.
I think
What
about
should I
this
do? I
game
could walk around.
size. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Alright, the performance is about to begin. Places, please. In this scene, you will be playing as me. It's awfully dark. Oh, there it is. We are gathering of professionals. First, you'll start by leaning against this wall. Good, stay right there. I went across the room, and this chair is a professional photographer of animals. Oh, I keep yawning! It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Okay. Hello. Is that it? That's not a conversation. Well, you can't just walk up to someone and keep talking. You need to actually converse with her. Be a human being. Do it again. Super scared right now. None of these are appropriate responses. Oh no, that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. Well, then why don't you give me the script? I was reversed, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. Reserved. But for some reason, it was just that moment. But I was confident. Maybe it is just settling. Maybe we're a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent people nearby. Now talk to her again. Bing. Bing. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. You're messing it all up again. Why don't you just tell me what you said? You'll freak her out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. What? This way? Oh, those pretty lights. Oh, that's nice. Okay, yes, now this is working.
The game
This is
ends
what
with
I
this
was like.
eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Why, if you were Moby's trip to play this game, probably you must keep your eyes closed, click to begin the game. What can we do? Help, I'm blind, I can't see anything. What's going on? I can't die like this, I can't die like this. What's going on? SS Whisper. Someone can help. There's a giant door and then my vision went black. Oh god, it's coming! That was scary.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Oh god, the door's coming! Oh, it's the elevator. I just thought it was a room. Oh god, that's scary. The only way to stop it is to speak to... Oh god, that looks really crazy. Wait, was I supposed to... It said in red at the bottom. Which probably means something. I didn't get a chance to read it. Oh, the lamppost is... Was the lamppost always up here? The only way to stop it is to speak to something that's honest and bursting with creative energy. I can't keep making... My work is always fun! No, that isn't the truth. Holy shit. What do we do? Speak something that is honest. I can't keep making these. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. Door stopped. I don't feel it anymore.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was cut off. I was gonna say, if you're really that upset, why would you sit there and make games? And it's not like just writing out your problems, you're actually having to code all this stuff. Hello, where am I? What is this? I don't know. It just seems... Where did this island come from? Oh. Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I've talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. I'm gonna try to create it feel empty. That music is cool. Oh no! What's happened? Did something change? I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. I don't know. Oh. I love it when games do sight stuff. When you see it's gone. When you look away, it's gone. I love it. I think I know where it is. It isn't far. You have to take me to it. See, it just appeared. It looks awesome. I
If
can
the
do
last
that, but there's a
game
problem.
featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even.
Pushed 3 and it said deal
And
anyway.
yet still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
Perfect. Come along, I'll show you.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Now you have to open the first door. Just press the switch here. That was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
These are just some words on some walls. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Okay, making games is simple. That feels wonderful. But it wasn't true. Don't worry about it, just keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy. But it's not, though, actually. When I make games, I feel completely energized. That's wonderful, keep going.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Here's him crying. A girl crying. Keep going.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything.
There's only
It
girl
never felt
voices
so
in these
rotten.
games.
I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop.
Is that a girl on the couch?
After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
May 2011. The Machine. Guard. Hello, guard. Ma'am, I'm glad to see you've arrived safely. Ma'am, we've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention in this one. Also, one more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. We get to see the machine. Ma'am, what will be done with the machine? Answer a few questions. Please give us answers. Okay. Welcome to the machine! Anyone remember that song? It was
And of
fucking
course,
brilliant.
it's the machine.
Your work was keeping us alive. Your work was keeping us healthy. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? It was only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? I don't know about this. It's weird. So here's what needs to happen. You need to go to the people out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. I've been so alone. Apologize for leaving me. I don't think this is about the machine. Anything fear. Alright then, I'll apologize to the people on your behalf. I'm sorry, machine. This person's mean. Nice city. My followers, my friends. It falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine will not apologize to us. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. Let us pay it retribution. Follow me, we will destroy the machine. I was just pushing one each time. The machine's gone. Oh, see the sight things. The machine's gone. Oh. That's cool. How do they do that? Is it just paint? Is it actually erasing? Is it just making it invisible? What are these stairs?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Sorry, this is just weird. Oh! I shot through the...
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
I don't have one. Well, I didn't. I can't move.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do?
Can you see why I felt like that?
Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy, so beautifully, beautifully happy.
This guy has a problem.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
Okay. This is creeping me out. This narrator... He's He's a creepy stalker.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world.
Or you.
It's a very cold game.
And I think Coda's not a he. I think Coda's a she. And I think this guy became obsessive.
This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Can't go that far. Go this far. So maybe I can go straight now. I don't believe this is a real maze, I just think it's a wall. It is dope. Fine, I'll push enter. That's a bit like Stanley Parable and Half-Life and all that jazz. Portal. Those games.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
15, 16, 17. What's 15, 16, 17 about? Okay, 15, 16, 17. So many corridors. Do you have to walk around all these? So many stairs, I mean.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress.
You're just gonna remove it anyway.
And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011, I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
3 dots.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left. And it felt somehow like I had failed.
You creepy fuck, you scared him away.
Where did I screw up?
By being a creepy fuck. Thank you for your interest in my games. I need to ask you not to speak to me.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Stop adding lampposts to them.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you are wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
And when you finally see what I'm talking about... Okay, this word. Don't say anything. When you finally get it, don't come talking to me. Leave me alone. Does hear a voice in here?
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work. Is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything.
Switch.
And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
And then? Epilogue. This is sick. This is just sick.
More. more love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm more.
This looks a lot like a game I've played before. Train station. It was at the end. I can't remember the name. It was a weird fucking game where you can like, there's pizza and noodles and you had to find scraps and there was like an alien and at the end there was a train, but then everyone came and tried to get you because you like stole the pizza or whatever, and then the witch saved you and you were on a boat. I don't know. What do we do here? So who made this game? Huh.
Solution. Solution. Solution.
What? What? That is cool. How did he hide the other trains? But you walk right through there. Alright, that's not the point. That's really cool though.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
And ruined his life.
Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Maybe he was just making silly things. And he kind of ruined his life by being an obsessive freak. And stealing his work and changing his work. You know, I've made a couple games.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
But I haven't. They're games that I just didn't finish. I started making a Sonic game. I mean, I've made a few games. And I've not put them anywhere because they're shit. It's actually kind of creepy to think someone steal, I don't know. This is just kind of gross.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like. What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do.
On yourself.
I have a lot that I need to make up for. And so I'm just gonna... Okay.
See, obviously this game was made to be like this. This isn't someone sharing someone's stuff, but the story of it, I mean, to think for like a second this is real is just disgusting. But it's already kind of destroyed its illusion, so... Because if he played this 3-4 years ago, and is only recording his voiceover now, it wouldn't have been recorded like that. The game would have started off as him being a lunatic and not progressing as we progress. So in that, oh, we're back at the train station. So in that, oh, sorry, it's not as creepy as it was, but it's still a weird story. Is that the energy beam from the spaceship game? I mean, this obviously isn't a game Coda made. He made this. Unless this is more to... I like how at the end of that one game where Coda was telling him to fuck off, that there was no switch inside the room when you do the door puzzle. But obviously this guy, Davey, could remove that to see what's on the other side. Alright, let's go in. Yep, take us up. Beam us up, Scotty. Maze for days! Can you actually get through the maze? There's 2 paths. I think you can actually get somewhere in this maze because I'm following one of the... Not that way, this way. Yeah, that's actually a doable maze, wow. So yeah, that was fucked up and creepy, and I mean, for a moment, I was getting like, you know, yeah, this is kind of sad. You know, wow, feels. But then it just, you know, like at the part when it was all about how hard things are. But when it started going into how the narrator was an insane, creepy fucking stalker, that's when the game lost the illusion and I kind of just got creeped out and was like, fuck you. This game's too creepy. Not too creepy, just, you know. Anything else? So that was the beginner's guide. A story about a creepy stalker, and yeah, don't really, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Catch you later. Ugh.